An important factor to consider with any deal is the financing. The financing can make or break deals. The interest rate, the terms of the loan can really can really make or break a deal. I'm not going to get into too much detail about the financing because it can get quite complex and there's all kinds of different options for financing. But I'm just going to talk about the type of financing I got. And the financing can be challenging because in commercial financing, there's a lot more stipulations, and I think lenders are a lot more, I don't want to say hesitant, but they underwrite things a lot bigger because obviously the numbers are a lot bigger for the most part. When you're talking millions of dollars, it's different to buying a $300,000 home as you would in single family residential mortgages. So I think it's important, very important, just like anything else, to create a friendship and to create a relationship with a banker. Find a banker that you like if you can. I know people use brokers, but for me, I just created a relationship. I found a guy at US Bank. So I used US Bank, obviously, and the good thing about US Bank is they usually need you to be in the state that you're investing in. But if they have a branch or a base where you're based, you can kind of leverage that, and it counts as the same as if I was in Cincinnati. So when I first was trying to find a lender, I actually found a lender through my broker who brought me the deal. JD, referrals is one of the best ways to find your team, and a team is obviously essentially important. And as I was building my out, I was using JD to try and find different parts of the team, and he's the guy that referred me to US Bank. Now I spoke to someone in Cincinnati, and then they direct me to someone here in Las Vegas. His name is James Arundel. Great guy. Been for lunch with him a few times. The beauty of that is he has a business card that he needs to use. He keeps telling me, so he actually takes me out to lunch when we go. So, but yeah, as anything, relationships are really important, and that's what I focused on, creating this relationship with James. It helps that he's a good guy and that we get along, and you can just have a general chat outside of the business of real estate. But I know that's not necessarily that important. But what I did do was I gained credibility. Again, it took time. We would underwrite properties. There were properties that I liked. I would send over to him. I'd tell him why I like. I'd show him my underwriting, and he would get back to me with his underwriting and how the bank would underwriting and their opinion on the deals. And I'm not sure if you've heard this before, but it's so true that the bank is your partner. We're a partner in this. They're going to give me 80%. I would only be bringing the 20% down payment. They're going to be bringing 80% of the financing for this deal. So they're more than a partner. They're bringing so much. So they need to know you. They need to know that they can trust you. They need to know that you're going to do a good job, because they're not in the business of taking over properties. They don't want to take over the property. They want you to be paying your monthly payments and for the property to be running well and for them to not have any worries and just to collect that monthly payment from you. So they want to know that the guy that they're working for, the person that they're working with, is going to run the property right and is going to do a good job and is going to be successful, because my success is their success. So creating that credibility was a big part of the success I had in getting financing. Now, obviously, the purchase price was low on this, but we looked at properties, closer to $1 million, and even at that point, they had a great comfort level with me, just because I gained that credibility, and they knew that I was conservative with my underwriting. I had a business plan for all the properties, and they knew I was going to do what I said I was going to do. I wasn't going to mess around. I took this serious, and I treated it like a business. So that helped that I gained that credibility. And that also in turn I think helped because I managed to secure a no prepayment penalty on this deal. So a lot of times you'll have a prepayment penalty because a prepayment means is simply what it sounds like, that if you sell or you refinance before the term of the loan, and this loan was a 5-year term with a 25-year amortization, if I can say that word, amortization. So if you sell or refinance the property before that 5 years, if you had a prepayment penalty, you'd have to pay that prepayment penalty. Whatever it is, it varies from bank to bank. But I got the option when we were getting ready to close that I could either get a 4.1 rate with a prepayment penalty or a 4.39% interest with no prepayment. So that was obviously a no-brainer. That really didn't change my monthly payment by hardly any at all. So I went with that, especially knowing that my goal with this property really was to turn it around as quickly as possible and then refinance or to sell and move on to something bigger. Now, as I mentioned in my business plan, it didn't necessarily mean that I was opposed to holding it if I had to, but not having a prepayment penalty was big for me, and that was a nice bonus that I was able to negotiate, as well as a 4.39 is a pretty low rate for commercial financing. Now I'm sure you can get it even lower, but that's what I got. So also the thing with this one as well that I liked was that it wasn't a balloon. So in 5 years time, when the loan was sort of up, it would just adjust to an adjustable rate. So it was a floating rate at that point. So it wasn't that I would have to, depending on where I would be at the property, I wouldn't have to sell or refinance or be in a lot of trouble like that. It would just change into a floating interest rate. So that also gave me a lot of comfort as well, that knowing that I was safe in that aspect. And yeah, so it turned out to be a good loan, a good partnership. Still keep in good contact with James to this day. And yeah, he asks me how the property's going, and yeah, we take it from there.